After the US imposes tariffs on Indian imports, India must adopt a multi-pronged strategic response rooted in sound economic principles and trade policy. This approach involves short-term mitigation, long-term structural reforms, and strategic diplomatic engagement. The objective is to safeguard domestic industries, diversify export markets, and leverage the disruption as a catalyst for deeper economic resilience under the framework of Atmanirbhar Bharat. Short-term tactical responses. 1. Support for affected sectors. To mitigate the immediate impact on export-oriented industries such as textiles, gems, leather, and auto components, the government should offer direct support. Financial measures. Revive interest subvention schemes and expand existing programs like the remission of duties and taxes on exported products, RoDTEP, to lower costs for exporters. Fiscal interventions. Consider temporary tax relief and streamline GST processes to enhance domestic competitiveness. Industry outreach. Facilitate access to larger domestic buyers, including public and private sector entities, to absorb surplus production. 2. Multilateral and bilateral engagement. India should not rush into retaliatory tariffs, which could escalate the situation into a full-blown trade war. WTO dispute settlement. Lodge a complaint with the World Trade Organization, WTO, if the tariffs violate global trade norms. India can leverage the WTO's rule-based framework to build pressure on the US. Diplomatic dialogue. Keep open channels of communication with the US to negotiate and find a mutually beneficial resolution, potentially reducing tariffs in exchange for concessions in non-sensitive areas. Trade settlement in local currency. Reduce vulnerability to the US dollar by promoting rupee-based trade settlement mechanisms with a wider range of emerging economies. Medium to long-term strategic actions. 1. Export and market diversification. Reduce overdependence on a single market, like the US, by actively pursuing new export destinations and strengthening existing relationships. Fast-track FTAs. Accelerate negotiations and implementation of free trade agreements, FTAs, with blocs like the European Union, EU, the UK, and the Gulf Cooperation Council, GCC. These agreements can provide preferential market access and offset losses from the US market. Look beyond traditional partners. Deepen economic engagement with the Global South, including Africa, Latin America, and ASEAN countries, to tap into underutilized markets. 2. Boosting domestic resilience. Atmanirbhar Bharat used the tariff shock as an opportunity to build a stronger and more self-reliant domestic economy. Enhance manufacturing competitiveness. The Production Link Incentive (PLI) scheme should be leveraged to attract global supply chains relocating from China. Improve logistics infrastructure under initiatives like PM Gati Shakti to lower costs and improve efficiency. Stimulate domestic demand. Rationalize taxes and boost urban and rural consumption to absorb production that can no longer be exported profitably. Invest in human capital. Focus on skilling and vocational training to create a workforce capable of excelling in high-value sectors, such as semiconductors and renewable energy, that are less susceptible to trade barriers. 3. Reform of trade policies. Address systemic issues that make India vulnerable to external protectionism. Address non-tariff barriers. Streamline regulations and compliance standards to make Indian products more competitive globally. Calibrated liberalization. Pursue selective liberalization by strategically protecting nascent or critical industries while promoting global value chain integration where beneficial. Promote services and digital trade. Capitalize on India's strengths in IT and digital services, and negotiate liberalized visa regimes and FTAs to maintain a competitive advantage. Macroeconomic and geopolitical considerations. 1. Fiscal and monetary policy. The government and the Reserve Bank of India, RBI, should coordinate policies to cushion the blow. Fiscal consolidation may take a backseat to increased capital expenditure to stimulate growth. The RBI may need to manage the rupee's volatility if foreign institutional investor FII flows are affected. 2. Strategic autonomy. The US tariffs, linked to India's geopolitical choices such as purchasing discounted Russian oil, underscore the need for India to maintain its strategic autonomy. This requires balancing economic integration with protecting national interests and not becoming a junior partner in any alliance. 3. Reform of global trade architecture. Collaborate with other nations, particularly within blocs like BRICS and the Global South, to advocate for a more equitable and rules-based international trading system. This includes pushing for reforms at the WTO to ensure an effective dispute resolution mechanism.